All right, that's enough of the housekeeping, and let's get on to what we are going to talk about today. We're going to be exploring some wonderful content marketing, content and SEO predictions for the next coming year. And as I mentioned, we're going to have tons of time to actually get to your questions. What questions do you have on your mind as you start looking at SEO, content, and all of the challenges that you've got going on in your business for 2018? And to join me today, we've got some wonderful presenters.
Wil Reynolds.
We've got the amazing Wil Reynolds. Wil likes helping people and businesses grow. And I'm glad that's the first sentence of his bio, because it's really, you know, it's an important thing to note that he likes helping people and businesses grow. He's a former teacher, and he's got a knack for advising. He's been helping Fortune 500 companies develop SEO strategies since 1999. That tells you how old he is. Seeing the need for an agency that does good by its team, clients, and community, Wil started Seer Interactive in 2002 as a one-man operation out of his living room. Today,
vlastně založil Seer Interactive, to je SEO agentura
as Seer's director of digital strategy, Wil developed strategies and innovations that help traffic for clients build traffic and make money. His methods have shaped the search industry worldwide, and he speaks regularly, including at our conferences, by the way, at other conferences across the globe. In his free time, Wil hangs out with his wife Nora, his son Rio, and his pup Coltrane. I'm hoping after the musician there. He also serves at Philadelphia's homeless and runaway youth at Covenant House, where he participates in a yearly sleep out. You can follow Wil on Twitter at Wil Reynolds, and it's one L, at Wil Reynolds. Next, we're going to have Seth Besmertnik, who's the CEO and founder of Conductor, our sponsor today, and a wonderful, wonderful thought leader in his own right. Since founding the company of Conductor, Seth has led the company through multiple financing rounds and extraordinary growth, including being ranked, by the way, an Inc.'s 13th fastest growing software company and Crane's best place to work for 6 years running. Seth drives Conductor's vision to transform marketing departments into customer-serving, results-driving teams. Today, a growing list of the world's greatest companies like Citibank, SAP, and CVS partner with Conductor to deliver great value to their customers. And you can follow Seth on Twitter at Besmertnik, and I'll spell that for you as BESMERTNIK. And then I'll be adding a few color comments here every now and then and try and add to the conversation. But these two guys are really the smartest guys that I know about SEO and what's going on in the world of content. And so say hi, guys. How are you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Happy New Year.
All right.
We're ready to get the crystal balls out.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so here's something just to tee things up here. I have noticed that this year has been just, I mean, it feels like it started like a freight train. I'm busier, I think, at the beginning of this year than I have been in many years. What is top of mind for you these days? Wil, what are you working on right now that's like just top, like you're just coming into the year blazing? What are you working on?
Do toho komentátora bych tam já zastřelil, jako. On se jich zeptá, na čem teďka děláte, jako. Kurňa, tenhle stream má být na SEO Predictions a Content 2018. Jako 10 minut mají pryč, jo. Prostě pojďme na to, jako. Lidi, mám o tom velké očekávání. Kurňa, to naráží.
I mean, I'm right there with you. I mean, the whole learning Tableau thing is something I'm doing myself. It's a big job, and boy, yeah, you're right. Make you feel like a newbie again. That will make you feel like a newbie again. And Seth, how about you? What are you working on? What are you coming into the year working on as your big priority?
I think broadly, right? Like since we started the company and just being in the SEO industry for over a decade, we've always been like kind of fighting from our heels, coming up from the bottom, trying to just grasp at anything we can get, and really being, you know, in some cases an afterthought. And we've always been preaching, hey.
Hej Martin, můžu to ještě zhasit, jako jestli to nejde slyšet, ale dej vědět, jak to teďka je, jestli jsem já hodně navíc nahlás, nebo jak to mají, teďka máme ještě šanci to vyladit.
Where executives, CEOs, CMOs, heads of digital marketing, they are really starting to care about this. They're joining. I mean, I've had 3 meetings with Fortune 500 CEOs in the last 12 months from not having any of those in the last 9 years. They're joining the meetings, they're interested, and when what that means is everything is different. How you communicate, what you have to talk about. How do you actually, if someone wants to invest a lot of resources, a lot of money into this, how do they actually do that? And it's changing everything. So it's changing the mentality, it's changing the tools, it's changing the strategy, and you know, we're just figuring out how to help our customers, you know, take advantage of that and actually grow their careers and grow their companies the way that they should.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, and it's almost like we designed this, but we actually didn't design it that way. But it actually segues really nicely into our first prediction here, so that we can get to what we want to talk about, which is this idea that executives are going to start taking an increased interest in SEO and content marketing. And it's, you know, when I look at that prediction, I go, okay, well, that feels at its surface like a kind of a surface level. You know, it's like, oh yeah, a duh, right? Of course, executives are going to start taking an interest in this thing that we're spending money on and we're doing, such as SEO and content marketing. But underneath that, there's really a lot to unpack there. And what I'd love to do is get both of your thoughts on this, because when I start looking at things like executives taking an interest, that business case in SEO and content marketing, it is, you know, from my experience, what I'm starting to see, and of course I play mostly in that content marketing space, it's not that they're just interested, it's that they're actually now at the point where they're starting to take it seriously enough to do serious levels of investment, right? So there is actually
tady tahle predikce o tom, že vlastně lidi ve
12 or 18 months where the executives now not only just feel like it's a good idea, but actually feel like this is a priority in the business. And that content marketing transformative in the way that we look at, you know, on the B2B side, something like account-based marketing, or the approach of, you know, targeted, you know, how we're looking at targeted content to drive better conversions and all those different kinds of things. But content marketing is really becoming something that businesses are looking at taking a serious level of investment. So maybe, you know,
takže on říká, že lidi ve vedoucích pozicích se teďka začnou zajímat jakoby reálně o SEO a obsahový marketing, jakože do toho začnou reálně investovat. Že to je jako předpověď. Lidi, ale tohle je každý rok, jo, tady ta předpověď, to je prostě...
For me, I'm saying that our team needs to get stronger and stronger at translating the metrics of SEO into the metrics of the CEO or the C-suite. Because when you read a quarterly report, you know, there's nothing really in most quarterly reports about where they rank, right? Or how many links they got this month, or how many pieces of content they produced. And I think one of the most critical things that I'm seeing right now is, and I'm trying to work with my team on here at Seer, is how do we translate, even if we have to make some assumptions, how do we better translate our work down to dollars and cents? Because if you don't, you know, just basic cognitive load of trying to talk to someone about links and rankings and all those things, you're now having that point of contact have to interpret that and then regurgitate it to somebody to either understand, or someone's going to hear all that gobbledygook, and then they're going to look over at the PPC team and say, well, they told me if I spend 10 grand, they can make me 100. I think I'm just going to go there because that's an easier thing for me to put my hands around.
Are you finding that there are, just at a practical level, that you're finding some of those metrics? Are you able to outline some of those, or are you still in that sort of exploration phase of how we can actually
si řeknou, že budeme investovat do SEO, tak jdou potom za tou agenturou a zeptají se na to, jak by to mohli dělat. Oni jim řeknou nějakou částku, oni si to přepočítají, že kolik by za to PPCčkaří udělali pro kliku. A pak se nic nestane, že jo? Pak SEO ostrouhá mrkvičku a PPCčkař to hodí do kreditu a přinese reálný profit. To je realita.
I'm like, okay, well, we understand the value that can have for Google and for rankings.
Jenomže
I'm prioritizing the link
PPC je taktika, je to krátkodobá věc. Když vypnete PPCčka, tak
driving traffic that has actually converted or assisted conversions in the past, because then I can put a dollar sign to the value of getting a link from that website. Now, obviously, I know that getting a link on the right page with the right stuff on it is going to help me to rank on Google. But in order to talk to the C-suite about that, I'm almost trying to use that as a byproduct. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm using all the data that Google gives us out of paid to give directional revenue projections based off of what's happened on the paid side. Now, I know it's not a one-to-one, but at least directionally I can say, hey, this keyword in paid got you this many conversions. So if I can get you into the top X, that's a rough range of where I might be able to get you to, give or take 25% lower or higher. And at least now I'm talking about something with a dollar sign. I remember once I looked at a combined report from my SEO team and my PPC team for one of our e-commerce clients. And I just counted the number of dollar signs. That's all I did. That the PPC team used in the report versus the SEO team. And it was 16 to 2. So at that moment, and that was 3 years ago for me, I said, we as a company on the SEO side have to get stronger at translating our work into dollars, because that's why clients spend more on the area where they can easily interpret.
Oh, that's actually really fascinating. Seth, how about you? When you start looking, I mean, you were touching on this, and when I was asking you about the priority of the new year, and you started talking about the fact that executives were starting to take, more meetings and be in these meetings. How has that translated into what you guys are doing as you start working with clients and what you're seeing at the client side?
Sure. I got a bunch of stuff. I'll run through them sort of disparately, right? First thing is, like, this is on Will's point, but do you know what ROI is? We ask our customers, what is ROI? How do your executives know whether something's working or not? And many of our customers and many companies we talk to, they don't have this. And if you're working at a company and there's not a numerator denominator that's defined, how much I invest, how do I calculate what I return? Take the opportunity to go and do that. Present an option. Make someone decide on what it is. Are you going to count traffic on a year-over-year basis? Are you going to baseline off of last year? Are you going to look at brand versus non-brand? How are you going to calculate that? But if there's no framework for success, then ultimately there's no way to grow. There's no way to get budget. There's no way to do something. So having that framework is critical. The other thing, and the second thing we always think about is missed opportunity. So,
missed opportunity.
One of the biggest challenges that we face as an SEO and content is that when something's not happening, it's very hard to see it. If you're driving down the 101 in San Francisco and you see your billboard or you don't see your billboard, it's very obvious. But if there's a million people searching for your product and service every month and they don't find you, you can't see that. The only people who know that are oftentimes the content and SEO teams. So you have to make it very clear very often how many potential customers, how many potential members, whatever your KPI is, are looking for what you do, what you're the best at, and how often are they finding you, and when they don't find you, what are they actually doing, and how's that changing? Because when you go to a CEO of a company and you say, you're the best at, one of our customers is WeWork, and I went to their CEO, who's an amazing guy, and I said, you're the best at co-working in the entire planet. You're the biggest company. You have the most amount of customers, the most amount of facilities, the best NPS, everything. But when someone is in LA and they're looking for a co-working space, they can't find you. And when you did that in just a very simple way, everything stopped. And it became, why would we do any kind of marketing when we're not getting found for the thing that we do? So I think missed opportunity, ROI, and then I think it leads to kinds of conversations of, how many of the people on the phone, a lot of companies are coming off of year-end planning. It's a new year, new budgets. How many executives for the folks on the phone and for our customers had 3 options from their SEO team? Option A, don't spend any more than we spent last year, and what the impact of that would be. And oftentimes, if you don't increase your investment, you're going to lose because more and more people are competing with you. Option B would be spend more money. And if you spend more money, what do I get for that? And option C could spend a lot more money. And if you don't frame things like that, what I find often happens is that executives will expect an improvement, 20% gains, 30% gains, without understanding what the investment is there. So framing what the spend and return would be, and being very clear that you have to have continuous investment to support the baseline of traffic that you have, because ultimately it's a zero-sum game and everybody's gunning for the same opportunity. It's a similar paradigm to PPC value going up and things like that. And I just think the last thing, just on what Will said, was just better communications, more dollar signs. I love that. I love that analogy. More dollar signs. Talk in their terms. Talk about missed opportunity. Talk about the paid media value. and really make it a very mathematical thing, but also a very emotional thing, that not getting found is something that should not be tolerated in your business, because
řekl jenom dvě možnosti zatím, ale neutrácet víc jak minulý rok, utrácet víc jak minulý rok, a ta třetí?
I'm completely intrigued by this idea that you
to nedopověděl, no, tak nevadí, to si domyslíme. Ta třetí bude asi třeba neinvestovat už do toho
I think that's such an interesting idea. Is there a simple way to sort of illustrate that? I mean, is it just using a tool and showing the popularity of a particular thing that we believe we're best in the world at, and how popular that is as a search term, and how we don't rank? Or is there something else that we can take from that to say, here's a way to illustrate to the executives of what we believe we're the best at, or what our brand says we're the best at,
perly tady tohle, jo, proto jak získat zákazníka pro SEO, jak mu to prezentovat.
We'll post the link in the chat, which is to my keynote from C3 last year, where I talked exactly about this and how to do it. And I started off by showing an example in a different industry where it's something that dentists and hygienists have been doing for years, which is you go into the dentist, you look at your teeth, everything looks good. But then they put this mouthwash in your mouth, and you can see that all the plaque that you have on your teeth, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know I had all that plaque. And once you and the idea is, once you see something, you cannot unsee it. So it's incredibly important to make it so people can be seen. And then the paradigm to that is, the parallel to that in our industry is, if you think about a keyword ranking report, I've got keywords, I've got search volume, and I've got whether I show up or not and who does. Now, when you show somebody on a spreadsheet, it's extremely unemotional. But when you put it in a nice little donut chart and you say what I said before, you have 34,000 potential customers looking for you. Only 1% are finding you. That's this much missed revenue. And then you show the bottoms-up example. I always love the top-down, bottoms-up kind of pairing, where you show the top-down, donut chart, something like that. But then you show the bottoms-up. Here's Johnny. He's going to school for the first time. He wants to learn how to do laundry. So he goes to Google and types in how to do laundry. He cannot find you. That makes it much more emotional. There's 500,000 Johnnies every month.
Ukázat tam příběh člověka, který vyhledává vaši službu.
I find that when you get the right person in the audience, when you get a CEO in the room or a CMO in the room, it's almost that if they're fiduciarily responsible and they care about doing the best thing for their company, there's no way they cannot react. And the next question is, what do we do about it? How much do I need to invest? How do we get this done? And then that moves to the next step of coaching executives on how to make things successful.
Fabulous. Seth, go ahead, Will. Yeah, go ahead.
Seth, I got a little bit of a challenge to you on that one, though, right? So one of the things that I have found has been very difficult. I would love to hear, and I bet you a lot of people in the audience would love to hear too, because I'm a CEO, so I get the quick decision making and how things have to be presented. But do you ever feel that we also run a little bit of a risk of making the CEO now obsess about a keyword and where they rank? And I have seen this. I have seen a CEO of a client that is no longer a client who was obsessing about a certain keyword. And when we looked at the keyword, we said, well, the top 9 of the top 10 sites are all e-com. You're B2B. Google's telling us that the customer intent is not really B2B here because they're not ranking any B2B sites. But because this person was just like so maniacally focused on where they ranked for a certain word, it became very hard to get them off of that. So all of our internal contacts were like, damn, our CEO just wakes up now and checks these 10 words and doesn't understand that, more of the conversions are happening on other words, and that's what we really should be focusing on. So how do you kind of help balance that once you show them that they're not there, to not have them sitting there on their phones Googling it every 5 minutes?
Sure. Yeah, I love that you said that. Actually, the second part that I went through and I talked about a lot of our customers is when you get that email.
Řekněte klientovi, že existuje nějaký vyhledávač klíčových slov a on u toho bude sedět a bude vám volat. My chceme být vidět na konkrétně tohle klíčové slovo.
And the typical, and like anything good, there's always a pros and cons. Nothing's pure pro and no con. I think you're articulating some of the cons. But when you get those, when people get those emails from their CEOs, the common response is to, one, be nervous, to be worried, and to almost respond in a kind of obfuscated way. Hey, we shouldn't worry about this, or there's personalization, or it's difficult, or we don't have the content. And what I always tell our customers is when you get those emails from executives, turn it into a meeting. right? Say, listen, we're not showing up for that because we suck and we need to be doing something better. I don't have the resources. I need help. I have a problem. Let's meet to discuss. Because if a CEO is going to be interested in something, then they also have to be, a good CEO is going to respond and say, I'm willing to spend the time, I'm willing to learn about it. So I think their interest is way more of a good thing than a bad thing, and use it as a time to get meetings, to get in front of them and help educate them, right? And educate them, and ultimately, I'd rather have all of our CEOs, all of our customers annoying our customers about keywords, but willing to take a 60-minute meeting every 90 days, than not giving a shit and saying, you know, go get it done. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to drive, you know, any kind of collaboration. And just as the side note to this, Conductor did research on you know, two and a half years ago, because we found some of our customers got great results and some of them didn't, and they canceled with us. And I'm like, well, why are some companies working so well and some of them not? So we looked at everything. We spent 6 months. It was the biggest research project we ever did. We looked at resources. We looked at business model, vertical, all this stuff. And the thing that we found, the most consistent correlation, and what we think is a causation about successful customers, is that the executives really cared. And because executives cared, they were making it so the processes actually move faster. I can create content faster. I can make changes faster. I can publish things faster. All those things take collaboration. It takes people working together. And the only way to get people to work together is if the executives care. So I think any kind of executive engagement, good or bad, is a net positive. And you got to learn how to handle those meetings and turn them into opportunities. And then it's going to create accountability and pressure. But I think the folks in our industry need to realize if they want to grow, they want a bigger salary, they want a bigger job, then you're going to have to take on a lot more accountability at some point.
Jo, dobře řečeno.
Prostě
to by bylo krásný poučit každého klienta dopředu, aby měl informace, aby se pak rozhodoval na základě ne nějakých domněnek, ale reálných jako věcí, jo, jak funguje.
As we start to integrate more and more of what we're thinking about in terms of content and SEO into the broader strategy. And a lot of that, of course, is this internal activation and participation and getting executives involved in teaching them as much as we're positioning and selling to them as well. And it gets to this idea of, as we start integrating this more and more into the broader strategy of SEO and content, just becoming part of marketing, right? Not becoming a separate thing, a siloed thing that sort of sits out on its own.
Určitě.
That it just becomes a much more integrated piece of the process.
To už vlastně předminulý rok.
How are you seeing this manifest?
Nevím, jestli to vidíte, tam mám kartičku od Mozu.
The remit of what you're doing with clients expand and how SEO specialists are now.
A firma Moz byla dřív SEO Moz. Změnili se, protože změnili název. Protože už se zaměřují jako kompletně, jako že pomůžeme vám dělat lepší marketing. Jo? Není to jenom SEO.
I think this is difficult. I think a lot of times when we, people are just stuck in the old way. I mean, we talk about predictions, right, of 2018. I'd love to look back at the predictions from 2013 and 14 and say, like, how many of those are we finally caught up to now in 2017 and 18? So what we find is it's a struggle. I mean, one of the things we try to pride ourselves on here is kind of being really forward-looking as a company. And for instance, I have example after example after example where I can show someone with live websites where Google is altering results based on things that look like, let's just say for the ease of conversation, personalization. And you'll show that to someone, and then I'm saying, well, hey, I want to get to better know your customer because somewhere we might have a high ranking, but it's not really seeming that page that's ranking high isn't seeming to drive conversion. Client goes, great. I'm really glad to hear you say that. What do you want to do? And we say, we'd like to talk to a few of your customers, have them actually go through Google, and we want to watch them and record their screens and talk to them like a UX person would and say, hey, if you're trying to solve X problem, start your search. They start searching, we watch them, we record them, and we say to our clients, that's how we're better going to understand when people get to the pages of your competitors and say, this page is great for these reasons, which helps me to make better content. But then when they also eventually click on your site and they get to it and they start telling us what they do or don't like about it or how it could be better, that's going to help us to improve your page to get you more conversions from the traffic you already have. Common sense thing to say. However, when you say that to a company, we have found that the majority of our clients are going, that makes sense. Ooh, but you want to talk to customers and watch them go through search results so you can better understand what content they like and don't like. Ooh, that's a different team. I don't think I can get those people involved. So the more integrated SEO is with marketing, the easier it is for, in my opinion, to be able to do the work of the future of search. Because as Google better understands user intent and that the algorithm is updating results based on user intent, then how else am I going to understand what the need of that person is that's typing in that keyword unless I either talk to them or watch them? And I would say right now, I maybe have been able to convince 10%, 15% of our client base to allow us to do things like that.
Přesně. It's amazing that you're finding that as well. I mean, it's something that I certainly see all the time in content marketing, which is
SEO 2018 jsem pro vás udělal a v tom dílu vám to řeknu. Nezáleží na tom, co lidi píšou za klíčové slova, ale záleží dost na tom, jak se u toho cítí, když to klíčové slovo píšou. RankBrain se to už učí, Google algoritmus se to učí rozpoznávat, s jakým úmyslem zadávat to klíčové slovo. A ještě se to musíme naučit my. That move to integrate more and more of the teams together and come up with a more holistic strategy is certainly a good one. Seth, what are you when you start seeing this idea of integration and it becoming just a broader part of the marketing strategy? How is that? SEO byl vždycky marketing, jako. Bohužel teďka, sorry lidi, myslím si, že teďka jako zbytečně slovíčkaří a mohli bychom se posunout dál, no. Někdy to tak je, jo, ty webcasty. Máme tam kvalitní lidi, ale máme tam prostě špatného. Nebo ne špatného, ale horšího uvaděča, no, dávají jakýsi divný otázky. And I always tell our customers, if you showing up in Google doesn't just mean that you show up in Google. It means that your salespeople have good content for conferences. It means that someone goes to your website, you're authoritative. It's so important. So when you're thinking about everything in marketing, you need to be thinking about what people want, and then do you have the assets to be valuable and to be the best at it? Why would you do a paid media program if you don't actually have anything valuable to drive people to? Because ultimately, customers want value. They don't want things that are not valuable. I think that's one sort of broad lens that we generally think about. And then I think getting into a little bit more of the tactics, and this segues a little to next prediction, but bounce rate and engagement, are those the #1 KPIs to look at for SEO in 2018? Bounce rate, do people like the content? Engagement, do they go into it? Do they interact with it? Oftentimes we tell our customers, it's like, there's no more SEO for you to do here in the old sense. What you need to do is make a great site, because your site's not that great. It's not that good experience. It's not compelling. It's not interesting. When you're thinking about snippets, Will has some amazing content where he records people looking at snippets, and it's like, so you can see the difference between the snippets that are optimized for the computer and the snippets that are like actually written in a compelling way, so someone would be entitled to click on them and to be engaged with them. So I think we need to shift moving to marketing to people. And applying general principles of marketing is it interesting, is it valuable, do you know your audience, are you speaking well, is it clear, is it in the right language level, versus speaking to a computer. Well, let me go to that then. Já si myslím, že většina lidí, co dělá SEO, tak mluví jako počítač. Something that I love, and I was so glad to see you guys really come up with it, which is this idea of the customer is the only algorithm that matters. Which, when I look at SEO, and I am not an SEO expert by any stretch of the imagination. Zákazník není algoritmus, jediný, na kterým záleží. Spíš vůbec. Approach. This is obviously some, a place where I live and breathe. Co zvědavý, co na to řeknou, tady na tohle věc. How do we, first and foremost, how do we provide value to the customer? How do we, as marketers, get out of this idea? Tím, že budu providovat value, tím, že udělám hodnotu pro jeho zákazníky, ne tím, že pro něho budu dělat nějakou hodnotu. Zákazníci nejlíp kecají, jako zákazníci SEO firem, nejradši kecají do toho, jak mají SEO firmy fungovat. Jo, jenomže
when you start to think about this idea of the customer is the only algorithm that matters, what does that mean to you, and how are you seeing that manifest itself in the work that you're doing?
Podle mě nezáleží na tom, co si myslí zákazník můj o SEO.
Larry and Sergey started Google, their intention was never that if someone looks for something on Google, they're going to find the company that's best at SEO. They always wanted to make it so they can find the best piece of content. However, there's a big spread between that vision and their technical reality from when they started the company to today. Today, I think that vision, and I know that vision is very much a reality, which is the best thing, the best piece of content, the best thing wins. So what we always tell our customers is, if you want to know the algorithm changes and you want to follow all of that, you can. But what you should focus on is really knowing your customers and giving them the best experience. And as a byproduct of that, something that we're seeing, and we're really going to start pushing a lot on our customers in 2018, is that content marketing and creating great content and guided experiences is not just for early stage. It's not just to educate people before they're ready to buy and early stuff. It's actually for the very late stage, transactional, buying keywords, the stuff that we've been focused on for years. We're seeing stuff in our customer base where we're having medium-sized companies are really annihilating large Fortune 500 brands for e-commerce search terms. And when you click on, when you search for buy, we have a customer called Madison Reed. If you go to Google and you type in hair dye, it's the most important search term in their category. They're the #1 result, but when you go to that page, they're not selling anything. There's no products, there's no filter by price, which are all the other guys that show up there, L'Oreal, the other companies, they all show up there. But what they actually have is a wizard says, tell me what you're trying to accomplish. Are you trying to, maintain your hair? There's a whole wizard they go through, and eventually they use the content to help you get to the product that you want. Okay. And what we're seeing is that the search engine, the people would much prefer that experience because it's better than just landing on a page and sorting by products. And as a result, Google is rewarding the companies that help do that because they have better bounce rates, they have better engagement, they have all of that. So content is no longer just an educational vehicle. It's core to all stages of the buyer.
Tady je ta stránka, o které mluví.
Fascinating. And Will, how are you seeing this manifest in what you're doing? Is what Seth's talking about resonating for you?
Je na druhém místě.
It is. I actually have a few points on this as well. I think somewhere on the journey of SEO, and if you even think about the acronym SEO, we stayed so focused on the search engines that we spent all of our time optimizing for the search engine. And we somehow forgot that every query somebody types in isn't search volume. It's a person trying to solve a problem. Now, while the three of us might geek out and search for different things to see what shows up, the average person's like my mom, right? Hey, I found this thing, Google it, search for it, click it. Do you find what you want or not? And I feel like somewhere on the journey of doing search, we forgot that that's really who we're serving is the customer. So I couldn't agree with more. We're not here just to serve Google. And some of the ways that we're trying to do that here at SEO is I'll go back to watching people go through search results. And Seth said this earlier as well. Once you see something, you can't unsee it. And I think it makes all search and marketing professionals stronger when you watch somebody go through search results and you hear their struggles and you hear where they go, man, I just wish it would do this. And why can't I find that? And there's something, you never forget that when you hear that. I remember we were watching somebody go through search results for one of our clients. And, it was an elderly woman. And what she ended up saying is she goes, well, the reason why I really like to, the reason why I search for words like rent to own for laptops and iPads is because I'm on a fixed income and I have grandkids. And when the Christmas season comes, I want to be able to spread out my payments over time. Right there in that moment, it made my entire team that works on that project more empathetic and more understanding of what the word rent to own laptops means to different people. It doesn't always mean the same thing. It's not just, oh, I have bad credit, which is maybe what the assumption would have been. And I think that that's how we become more personal and stronger at search is when we become stronger at understanding the people behind those queries. We've walked people through pages and said, hey, what would make this easier for you to read? And they tell us, and then we go and implement those changes. That's not about making a ranking higher at all. One of the easiest things I think a search professional can do with existing high rankings is to watch users interact with that page and other pages and say, what can make this better? We did that for one of our clients, and within weeks, we had doubled the revenue to that page because it was already getting tons of traffic, but people said simple things to us like, oh, if this had a table of contents, it would help me to navigate my sections better, or whatever they were looking for. And instantly, it not only solved their problem, but it also generated more revenue for the client. Now, a lot of that is very kind of touchy-feely, and it's hard to do at scale. So for a lot of our more enterprise folks on the call, some of the things that we're trying to do, for instance, are like using a tool like Hotjar. Hotjar allows you to pop up a survey on people and ask them anything. Qualitative questions are usually better when you're working in an enterprise at scale. Did this page solve your problem, yes or no? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust the information on this page? How complete was it? And then what you do in a tool like a Power BI or a Tableau is then you take the URL for that piece of content, you match it to your data warehouse, so you now have all your rankings. You match that also to all your traffic and conversions. So now you can instantaneously pivot your data to say what pages have high rankings, maybe high bounce rates, and have low trust. Or have I gotten customer feedback on how to make it better? And that's one of the ways that you can improve pages so they don't get disrupted in the future as Google gets better and better at understanding whether or not your content is solving problems for people.
Yes.
Another thing that we've also looked at is a tool called Clearbit. And what we like to do with Clearbit is when somebody hits our website, we're testing this on our own right now. If somebody hits our website, Clearbit allows you via an API to look up all the information about that person's IP. It'll let you find out what company they're at, etc. A lot of people have seen this before. But then what we like to do is do smarter retargeting. And this comes down to understanding people better. So once I know you're at a publicly traded, healthcare provider, then I might market to you differently if you're a 10,000 employee company versus if you're a regional 1,000 person hospital. And we have to then produce the content to talk to those folks differently. But that's another way of kind of saying, how do I talk to you more in the language, in your language, and say that I understand you at scale? So those are a few tactical things that we're trying to do to help go from a, hey, here's a keyword, to who is this person and how well does our content solve that problem? And then when we go to do remarketing, how can we talk to them in a way that's going to resonate with them?
Yeah, I love that, Will. Yeah, I love that, Will. I think that's the same thing with communicating with executives. If you want them to react, you need to show that to them. You need to have those recordings and show them that bottoms-up view of that person. And then I also love, Will once told, I once heard Will speak, and he talked about how his team had a client, and I think it was a window client or something, and you guys went to Home Depot. Will's team went to Home Depot, and they actually went through the process of talking with a rep at Home Depot. What do you need to do? You need to do this, asking questions, and wrote it all down, and then created a website that mimicked that experience, where you go through that same questionnaire, that same evaluation process, and really learning what the buying criteria is. And as a byproduct of that, you're teaching people about what to shop for, and then helping them find the right product. And then once you create that experience, it's awesome. Everybody links to it, and then it beats everybody, and you've got the best performing piece of content. So, not everybody can go to Home Depot and do that, but it's quality over quantity, and that I think captures the essence of what Will's trying to say, which is really, really learn what people want, because that's the secret to winning.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to move to one quick segment here before we move to the audience questions and answers here. I'm going to do a quick rapid fire.
Máte někdo nějakou otázku? Můžu se za vás zeptat? Napište mi to do komentářů, já tu otázku položím.
Quick take, and so each of you have 10 seconds to answer the following sort of topics, and then we'll move into audience Q&A.
Každý má 10 sekund teďka na odpověď.
Content and SEO is going to merge into one discipline in 2018. Will go.
Not in 2018, maybe in 2020.
Gotcha.
We already see it starting to happen where there's a central leader managing these functions together. We just did this with our own teams here at Conductor, so I think this is going to be a 3-year process, and many companies are starting.
Both of you are correct. All right, next topic: brands buying publishers. The idea that brands now have business models that need audiences, and publishers have audiences but are lacking in business models. Are we going to start to see brands buying more media companies and publishers in 2018? Will?
Yes, I just told a client yesterday that if they wanted to, instead of producing all the content that they needed, we should find a low...
Sorry, teďka jsem to musel refreshnout, protože mě nešel ten slide zmenšit.
Clients left and right who can't make the investments to build the content themselves at that scale.
Yeah, love it. If you do a good job convincing your CEO, then they're going to come back and say, I got a lot of money, what can you do with it? And one of the best ways to do that is to buy a publisher. Publishers have great audiences, but terrible business models. And brands have a difficult time buying an audience because a lot of traditional advertising is not working like it used to. So you can get audience, you can get good experience, you get value. It's net positive for everybody. I love it.
Absolutely.
Tak co lidi, nějaký dotaz?
One thing, sorry.
Next one, voice search. Do we care about voice search, Will?
We're not seeing commerce happening on voice searches. I asked a friend that works at Bing, Perna Vergi, a lot of people know her, the top searches that they see, and I think the two ones were Take Me Home and Call Mom, and I haven't found a way to monetize either one of those. So voice search is important, but not for the types of words that typically are driving revenue and money for our clients today.
Gotcha. Seth?
I think customers should focus more on the basics and figure out what the things that their customers are looking for, and then try to rank. You know, if they really want to focus on answer boxes and making sure that they own the answer boxes, I think that's a great place to be. As a byproduct of that, you'll get more voice searches, but don't think it's a big place to be focusing attention in 2018.
Fantastic answers for both of you. Okay, now let's move into our Q&A from the audience. And we have had a ton of questions come in. And so I'm going to start here, just get right to the point, and let's make these snappy answers so that we can get to as many questions as we possibly can here. The first one comes from Alex, and he says, I love the point about about SEO becoming part of an entire integrated marketing strategy. How can I help a client to better understand the value of a holistic strategy, including SEO, content marketing, social, versus just a standalone SEO engagement?
Tak já se zeptám na svou oblíbenou otázku.
Will, you want to start that?
You know what? I think you said his name was Alex. When you figure it out, you jump on the next webinar and tell me. Because to be honest, all these companies are built in silos. So we find it very difficult to be able to communicate that whole piece and actually see it get adopted. I think a lot of people nod their heads and say, yeah, that makes sense. But when it comes to the change inside the organization to make that happen, I'm still knocking my head on that, to be honest. I really am. So the answer there is I don't have an answer.
Yeah, well, my answer. I'll share what we do here at Conductor, and just from our own marketing, and it's a little bit of the answer, which is that everything starts. You know, the idea of customer first marketing is instead of the question being how do I sell more of my product, it's what problems do my customers have? How do I help them get the answers to that? So we start with that, and then we create the assets, the videos, the content, the things that are value. And then we look for things, those things to drive organic traffic. But then we'll drive paid media programs. We'll do webinars of them. We'll create printable assets and send them to our customers. We'll bring them to trade shows. We'll do all those things. But everything starts with the customer and their need and the content, and then all the other traditional forms of marketing and digital marketing, they layer on top of that.
Zeptal jsem se na to, jakým způsobem máme získat tu reálnou zpětnou vazbu od těch uživatelů. Jestli máme pořád nějakou focus grupu, nebo je zastavit na chodníku, dát jim tablet do ruky, říct jim, ať něco vyhledávají a sledovat jejich reakci. Uvidíme. Doufám, že to přečteme.
What are you guys seeing sort of in the classic SEO, as it were, to get more of those organic listings, you know, pushed up in the rankings? Is there anything in 2018 that's different? Will?
For us, one of the big things that we've started to do, so assuming you already have a ranking, but you know it's sitting there and there's more paid ads above it and more rich snippets above it. One of the things that we're doing more of is we're looking at our highly performing PPC ad copy, which is tested more frequently than changing things like meta descriptions and titles. So we're taking our paid data, testing like what messaging gets the highest click-through rate. So then if it makes sense for us in organic, we're going to replicate a similar type of message as a title and description so we can increase our click-through rate from the rankings we already have. So that's one way to take your high rankings that now have 4 ads above it and snippets and try to find a way to get a higher click-through rate on that existing real estate.
Awesome. And Seth, how about you?
Well, I like Will's ideas. Let's move on.
Nice. I will let that lie then. All right. So our next question then comes from Susan. And Susan, it goes a little bit back to what we were talking about at the top of the show. And Susan asks, what are your ideas for translating content work down to dollars and cents through analytics? What other programs to prove investment to the C-suite level? And I'll take a first shot at this one because since it's about content. One of the things, Susan, that I have seen really work is how we can start looking at tying what you're doing from content into the building of an audience. Because ultimately it is the audience that's going to provide the value, the business and measurable value to what you're trying to do, not necessarily the content itself. And what I mean by that is when you start looking at the acquisition of an audience through your content programs and you start looking at the dollars and cents there, start looking at what are the goals that we're trying to achieve. It may be that you're looking at driving things like leads. And so the number of leads that the content provides that advertising or other marketing methods would be able to provide you some dollars and cents there. It may be, quite frankly, that you're looking at data and you're looking at how data either provides a better lead or one that converts better for sales or that converts more in the shopping cart, depending on your business. And so the difference, the delta between those that are coming through regular programs versus the conversion rates that are coming through content
Já tam střílím dotazů miliardy. To nikdy nezodpověděl do dneška. To tady budou do půlnoci.
It may be that the content is actually giving you some of those things that Will talked about in the beginning, which is it's adding more dollar signs to the conversion rates or your SEO rankings that you're actually working on. If we start first with the business goal and then ask, how can an acquired audience begin to start to monetize those goals or provide better monetization toward those goals? Then we can start working backwards to say, here's how we'll actually show the measurement, illustrate the measurement toward that. There's more there for sure, but I'll let Will or Seth, either one of you want to comment on Susan's questions here?
Podle mě tam nikdo neposlouchal, teď už všichni usnuli.
We've had some customers ask us, content has a lifetime value to it. You create a piece of content, your cost might be in month 1, but the value could be over 24 or 36 months.
Exactly.
We had a customer ask us if they can amortize their content and put it as like a CapEx expense, which is interesting idea. I think that I would say start with the model, start with something big and broad, and negotiate it down to something more reasonable. But most companies we talk to, they don't even have any framework in place, and it's not from lack of agreement, it's from lack of effort. So start with a model, be broad, group your content into, tie it into, use the analytics metrics that the rest of the business uses, and go from there.
Gotcha. Will, did you want to add anything to that?
I might start sounding like a little bit of a broken record, but I use paid data. So where I can, I say, hey, you've spent $500,000 this year on this keyword or this set of 10 keywords. You don't have, so you're telling me that that's important to you because you've spent a bunch of money and you've gotten enough conversions that you're going to continue to spend that much money next year. And then I turn around and say, what if I told you that I could rank for those group of words with 2 or 3 pieces of content that might cost you, $20,000 or $30,000 to build out. Let's just say it's like an asset or a tool, but then you don't have to pay in perpetuity. Then I go back and pull the published dates on the top 10, and I can say to my client, hey, well, this one piece of content actually has been ranking for 4 years. So therefore, it's reasonable to assume that you could get in the top 3 if most of them have been at an average of 4 years, that if I produce this once, what you would have had to pay $500,000 a year for over the next 4 years, which is $2 million, I'm asking for an investment of $20,000 to go after a $2 million opportunity. People start going, yep, how can you make that for me? So I find that that's a very compelling way to kind of get revenue down to content opportunity.
Takhle jim to prodát. Chytrej.
The next question comes from Rich.
Lidi, teďka, jestli jste poslouchali, tak jste získali návod, jak prodat SEO služby.
Speaking of the SEO career, is it really doomed to extinction? And he points to, he sent a URL here to a Contently blog article that talks about why today's SEO experts will evolve or go extinct. I think maybe we're talking about the evolution here. You know, I always get a little sort of leery when somebody says something's going to die. But I think evolution might be the right word, but let me not put words on either of your mouths. Does this feed into this idea of it becoming just a broader piece of marketing, or do you think the SEO career is one that will likely go extinct? Will, what do you think?
So could I actually go? Let me go first?
Sure. Seth. Yeah.
So I saw this was on the bottom of the list, and I actually just hit the hi button to make this the next question to answer, because I know there's a lot of SEO folks on the phone here, and I think the opportunity for SEO people is remarkable. I think we're going to look at CMOs and senior executives in 5 and 10 years from now, and see a lot of them came up the SEO track. Anyone who's in the SEO industry and is thinking about bailing out because they don't think there's a ceiling or there's not a future, they're not thinking about it the right way. The very essence of SEO is understanding what people want and giving it to them. And that is the future of marketing. That's the future of where everything in marketing and really business is going, customer-centric. You read Jeff Bezos' letters to his shareholders, it's all about delivering to the customer.
Přesně tak, a o tom ale SEO bylo vždycky. Dát lidem to, co vyhledávají. Marketing je o tom zjistit, co lidi chcou a dát jim to. Ideálně jim to prodat.
Customers who are VPs, CMOs, directors that came up the SEO track. It's a great place to do it, and I think you're going to be really successful and be extremely optimistic. Sorry for jumping in.
Will, did you?
Přečtěte můj komentář.
Yeah, Will, did you want to add anything to that?
Mohli by mi
I
přečíst
would
teda
ask
můj
everybody,
otázku.
go out right now and Google the phrase SEO is dead 1997. The first result, we'll talk about a prediction made in 1997 that was 17, 18 years ago, that somebody was predicting that SEO was going to die. And guess what we're talking about today in 2018, the future of SEO. So my take on SEO and the future as a career choice is this.
Prediction.
Anytime you understand a customer and understand what makes it as easy as possible for that customer to find an answer. I can't see us going back to the card catalog. I can't, to find answers to questions that we have. I don't see us going back to the library. So to me, I think that while SEO changes very frequently because the algorithms are trying to keep up with how people make decisions and choices about what's the right piece of content or the right answer to their question. I think the concept of algorithms ordering answers for a question you have ain't going nowhere. Now that might be SEO, it might be SEO in the form of reciprocal links back in 1997, but today it could be more about understanding content. So no, I think it's got a great long career path.
Yeah, and I think about the conductor business. I mean, if our business is a barometer for what's happening in industry, I mean, in the last 90 days, we have brought on more customers, more investment than ever before, and huge multiple increases. And I just think there's more energy and more focus and more attention and more opportunity than ever before.
A great segue to conclude. And thank you so much for both of you. Thank you to all of you who have attended today. As I mentioned, there's going to be a link to the archive that's going to be sent to you. So a replay of this will be at your fingertips when you want to. For more about the Content Marketing Institute, you can simply visit contentmarketinginstitute.com. And I do want to add thank you to Conductor. I have gotten the distinct pleasure of being able to speak at their C3 event, which their C3 event is coming up March 7th through 8th in New York City. I could not implore you highly enough to go attend this event. There is a discount code there. If you can see in the lower right
toto je klasická call to action na konci. Takhle byste měli dělat webináře nebo webcasty teda. Moje otázky teda nám bohužel nepřečetli.
Cheers everybody. Bye bye.
Tak, to je všechno.
Boom.
OK. Takže to máme za sebou teďka. Webinář is concluded. OK. Lidi, díky, že jste se podívali, kdo tady zůstal až do této chvíle, tak jste dobří. Protože jste se něco mohli dozvědět a to, co jste se mohli dozvědět, já vám teďka česky zkusím vám to nějakým způsobem zhrnout. Takže pro všechny, kteří jako tak nějak, jak kdyby tápali nebo něco, tak teďka na konci vám řeknu, o co tam šlo. Dejte like, jestli se vám líbí, že jsem z toho udělal dnešní livestream, nečekaný, protože jsem si řekl, kurňa, tak jako já se stejně na ten webcast budu dívat, aby jsem se něčemu novému přiučil. A ničemu novému jsem se nepřiučila, ale je dobrý, že jsem to asi viděl, protože je důležité zůstat jak kdyby... kde to mám tady? Je důležité zůstat tak nějak jako in, že jo? Tak jo, takže já to teďka zhrnu. Tak na začátku tam byla jedna taková predikce. Jestli lidi z vysokých pozic s firem, jako CMO a tady takhle, CEO a tak, se začnou zajímat o SEO, ale nejenom zajímat, ale přímo do něho investovat, nemalé peníze, což jako je taková jedna z predikcí toho, jestli, jak to bude vypadat v roce 2018. No, tak tohle bylo krásně odpověděné, myslím, že Wil Reynolds to odpověděl, že klienti budou vždycky poměřovat investice do SEO s těma investicemi, které jsou do PPCčka. Jo, a teďka, když si to, je to prostě pravda a je to prostě se to děje i včera, klasika, jo, klasicky, kdy vlastně přijdete za klientem, řeknete mu, že pro něho uděláte landing page, to bude stát, já nevím, 20 000, pak pro něho budete psát blog, třeba na půl roku, vymyslíte nějaký témata, celkově to bude stát třeba, nevím, 5-10 tisíc měsíčně. On si to spočítá a řekne si, no jo, ale tady pro mě dělá PPCčkař a já mu za to dávám 10 000 a tak já mu za to dám 15 000 a on mi udělá tu službu líp. Jak už jste mohli slyšet, pokud sledujete mě už nějakou dobu, tak já klasicky říkám, PPC není špatná strategie, ale je důležité kombinovat s brand buildingem a aby se prostě něco dělo a nějaká hodnota se předávala nejenom tím, že se budou dělat reklamy na nějaký itemy v e-shopu anebo na nějaký landing page, které jsou už většinou konverzní v tom PPCčku. Lepší způsob je samozřejmě dělat PPC na landing page, který přináší nějaký užitek, je to nějaký wizard, jak tam ukazovali, to je superová věc, užitečná, něco, co těm zákazníkům pomůže se vzdělat, ale samozřejmě udržet nějakým způsobem tu kvalitu té zkušenosti s tou vaší firmou, to už se můžeme bavit o termínu, jako je love brand. A samozřejmě tady už je to jako těžší a je to jenom pro určitou skupinu lidí, kteří vydrží, jako samozřejmě ti majitele těch firm musí vydržet s těma lidma, co dělají marketing SEO a tady ty IPPC, tak aby prostě pořád drželi tu myšlenku a šli dlouhodobě, jo, protože do PPC se dá jednorázově investovat, jenomže do SEO se prostě jednorázově, to jsou spíš vyhozený peníze. Jestli by někdo řekl, mám na SEO 20 000, tak to já klasicky odpovídám, radši si ty penízky nechte a zaměřte se na to, jak nejlíp byste mohli prodat prostě nejrychlejší cestou, jo? Protože SEO je dlouhodobá věc, to je jako královská disciplína. A musí mít samozřejmě ten člověk budget, nemůže ten budget být prostě nějak prostě strašně nízký, jo. Kdyby ten budget byl strašně nízký, tak na to samozřejmě funguje jednoduchá formule, nauč se to sám a dělej si to sám. Tam se dá nabídnout webinář, tam se dá nabídnout školení, který nestojí tolik peněz a ten člověk si na to musí ale najít čas. Jo? Nemůže zase se jen tak vykoupit ten čas tím, že ten člověk si řekne, no tak já se to naučím, tak doufám, že se to naučím rychle. Jo? Tak to už zase je druhá věc. Buď to musíte mít čas a energii, když nemáte peníze, nebo musíte mít peníze. Ale pořád je lepší se naučit, o co jde, protože ti lidi na vás stejně budou mluvit jak mimozemšťani, jo, nebo jak roboti prostě, jo. Klasický SEO specialista, jo. No. Já jsem tam taky byl, jo, já jsem z začátku dělal jednu z takových velkých chyb, když jsem šel za klientem, tak jsem klasicky
dělal takovou tu věc, jako, že jsem mu to strašně vysvětloval. Jo, říkám, jo, tam je title, tam je dobrý dát klíčové slovo, tohle meta description nemá žádný vliv na ranking, jako na pozici ve vyhledávačích a bla. Jo, jako... Jo, meta description zase pomůže vizuálně, protože se tam označuje boldem, prostě různé klíčové slova, jestli tam budou nebo nebudou, tohle meta keyword, na to se můžete rovnou vykašlat, to tam nedávejte, konkurence vám tam možná tak bude šmejdit a učit se z toho, na který klíčové slova cílíte, tak to tam nechcete dávat, jo, Google už to dávno ignoruje od listopadu 2009, jo, takže prostě je důležitý prostě tady tyhle věci, sice jako, aby klient věděl, ale nemůžete po něm chtít, aby se to učil na vaší konzultaci. To je blbost, jo. On si vás neobjednal na školení, on si vás objednal na to, že rozumíte svýmu řemeslu. Stejně tak jako automechanik vám nebude vysvětlovat, jak to auto bude opravovat. Rozumíte tomu? Tak, tady je potom, toto bylo SEO versus PPC, potom tam bylo dobře řečeno, že když jdete za klientem, tak je dobrý mluvit o ROI, Return of Investment, to znamená míra návratnosti, jestli měří nějakým způsobem návratnost, jo? Protože většina těch klientů, a já to znám ze své praxe, oni prostě jsou schopni investovat peníze, dávat seznamu 20 000 a za zápis na firmy.cz a tak dále a neměří si, jestli vůbec někdo chodí z firmy.cz k ním na web. Já jsem měl jednoho klienta, ten mi volal a ten mi říkal, no já dávám 20 000 seznamů každý rok. Já říkám, no to je hezký. A díval jste se, kolik lidí vám přišlo vůbec z firmy.cz na web? A no, nedíval, nevím kde. Říkám, jo, a máte Google Analytics aspoň? Prej jo. Říkám, dobře, tak po telefonu, říkám, přihlaste se do Google Analytics. Klikněte tady na, a teď nevím přesně, kde to mají, oni to furt přehazují. Zkrátka jsme se podívali na referál. A v referálu jsme našli firmy.cz. Dal jsem mu tam rozptýl po telefonu, říkám, naklikněte tam 3 roky zpátky, naklikl tam 3 roky zpátky, zobrazili jsme si referál, zobrazili jsme si firmy.cz, hledejte, kolik prokliků tam bylo. 3. Tak jsem mu říkal, tak super, tak máte jeden proklik za 20 000. Takže jako někdy to může být hodně jako šokující zjištění. Bohužel prostě klienti jako neměří, nemyslete si, že každý klient si měří to, když dává někam peníze, jo. To je prostě, a rovnou bych o tom na první schůzce měřil. No, hned bych si to u nich změřil. Mluvil bych o tom. Další věc je missed opportunity, to je taky už takový známější pojem tady. Viděl jsem to už na několika přednáškách o tom mluvit někoho. Je to promarněná příležitost. Vemte si, že já jsem začal dělat tuhle marketingovou show před 2 rokama. A kdybych to nezačal dělat, tak prostě nemám teďka tady tohle. A byla by to promáchnutá příležitost, kdyby dělal něco jiného. Jo, samozřejmě se můžete jako zabývat ještě něčím jiným, jo, ale to je právě ta věc, když se tím zabývat vůbec nebudete. A SEO, jako budovat prostě něco tady v tomhle smyslu, spíš porozumět těm zákazníkům, co vlastně doopravdy chtějí, to tam padlo dobře, je prostě promáchnutá příležitost. Když na tomhle nebudete pracovat, tak kdo jiný to za vás udělá, vaše konkurence, ale ta si to nechá pro sebe a ten zisk bude za něma, že jo. Tak, dál tam máme, jo, jestli vlastně ty firmy a ti marketingoví specialisté v těch firmách, nebo ti SEO agentury, které dělají pro firmy, přijdou za tou firmou na začátku roku a řeknou, hele, chcete teda neutrácet nic víc jak minulý rok, necháme to na stejném budgetu, ale díky tomu prostě získáte tohle. Jo, říct to ale, jo, že prostě nechcete investovat víc, tak prostě nebudete mít třeba příležitost, která je teďka na YouTube Live, jo, třeba. Jo, zainvestujte víc a nebo utrátíte víc než minulý rok a získáte za to velkou příležitost, která je třeba zrovna právě na YouTube Live, nebo třeba na nějaké zprávě Facebook stránky, nebo třeba vedení nějaké pravidelné soutěže. Tak dál, síla vizuálu, tam to krásně řekli. ukazujte klientům grafy místo tabulek, jo, lepší, tam říkal nějaký donut graf, jo, nějaký graf z koblížků, nebo já nevím, jo, nějak hezky to udělejte ty grafy asi hravě, protože to si člověk zapamatuje, to je důležitý. Vám nejde o to ukázat, ohromit klienta velkýma číslama nebo ukázat mu nějaký tabulky. On si to nezapamatuje, on na to, jako to zapomene prostě do druhého dna, prostě tam půjde na golf nebo půjde na dobrý oběd, dávno už to má vykouřený z hlavy, jo, to nemáte šancí. Ale když mu ukážete v graf barevnej, musí být barevnej, jo, no tak je to lepší, samozřejmě, jo. Jdeme dál, síla vizuálu, jo, to je prezentovat personu, která hledá vaši službu, to je geniální nápad. Říct tomu klientovi ne, že lidi vyhledávají klíčové slova, ale řekněte to jinak, řekněte třeba, tady tahle maminka má jednoleté dítě a potřebuje pro něho nějaké oblečení. A teďka ona půjde na net a zadá si tam klíčové slova a najde fórum, na e-mimino, najde tam tohle, ale nenajde tam pořád e-shop. Nebo nenajde tam prostě dostatečný výběr tady těch, toho vybavení. No a mohli bychom vytvořit nějakou stránku, která prostě se bude zabývat tím, že pomůže těm maminkám vybrat, já nevím, nějaký doplňky, nebo já nevím, no, prostě říkejte to ale jako příběh. Říkejte to jako příběh reálného člověka, který hledá reálnou věc. To si myslím, že bude pro vás mnohem lepší a pro toho klienta, aby to pochopil. Závislost klientů na obsazování pozic na klíčová slova, o kterých si myslí, že jsou důležité, to je klasika, to je prostě, to nás provází neustále, jo? Že klient si myslí, že chci být. Já jsem dělal minulý rok, půl roku pro amerického klienta a ten mi říkal, že chce být vidět na klíčové slovo jedno, jo. A já říkám, OK, jako můžu se pokusit, jo, ale prostě chyběla tam ta pointa, prostě byl to business to business a já říkám, dobře, ale budou to ty lidi vyhledávat a bude jim to stačit, to jenom najít? A v business to business se to dělá jinak, jo, tam prostě se ťuká na dveře, zvedá se telefon, chodí se a prezentuje se to, tam už ty materiály musí být připravený a navazují se tam hlavně vztahy, jo, tam se každý zná s každým. Business to customer, tam už by jsem šel po těch klíčových slovech jako hlavní složka toho mixu, jo. Jako jedna z hlavních složek. Samozřejmě pochopit, jak vyhledává zákazník, co vlastně chce, to je taky stěžení. Ale business to business je právě rozdílný tím, že tam si na ty lidi ani nemusím hledat, já nemusím čekat, než oni mě najdou přes nějaké klíčové slovo. To je strašně dlouhý čekání, jo. To prostě kratší čekání je zaregistrovat se na konferenci, která je pro tady tyhle lidi dělaná, jo. A tam si s nima podat ruku rovnou, tak se to dělá. Tak, dál, chcete se ukázat na klíčové slovo, je to, ano. To vysněné klíčové slovo, který má ten klient a chce se na něho nutně ukázat, tak prostě mu můžete taky říct, a jste vůbec relevantní pro to klíčové slovo, máte vůbec právě to, co ty lidi hledají, nebo vaše stránka vypadá, jak kdyby prostě vykopali nějakého dinosaura, jo. Je to relevantní, jste připraveni vůbec obsáhnout jak to říct správně? Tu poptávku po tom klíčovém slově, tam ten člověk poptává obsah, jo. On nechce najít firmu, která se nejlíp umístila na klíčové slovo. On chce najít obsah, který je skrytý za tím klíčovým slovem. Tak. Takže tam samozřejmě funguje něco jako bounce rate a pokud se i nějakým způsobem se vám zadaří dostat se na to klíčové slovo na první pozici, tak vemte na to že bounce rate, to znamená míra okamžitého opuštění stránky vás skillne dřív nebo později a vy tu pozici ztratíte. Jo. Když prostě na té stránce nabídnete jenom nějaký třeba text a Google třeba ještě pořád nezjistí, že vlastně jste tu stránku jenom naplnili nějakým neužitečným textem. On to zjistí. A zjišťuje to čím dál tím rychleji. Takže to by bylo všechno. Díky moc, že jste tady jako dorazili. A jestli se vám tohle video líbilo, dejte mi tam like, ať tam je aspoň nějaký like. A já se budu těšit a v pátek se těšte na superový díl. Teďka už vím, že to bude hodně silný díl. Páteční díl, který se bude jmenovat SEO 2018, intonace a jak to tam mám ten název nějak, no. Intonace ve vyhledávání a kontext. Intonace a kontext ve vyhledávání. Bude to mít prvky dnešního webcastu, který jsme se mohli podívat, ale budu tam rozebírat ještě víc věcí. A jsem nadšený, protože tam mám dobré věci. A jsem rád, že z dnešního webcastu do toho svého pátečního dílu vlastně nemusím nic přidávat, protože tam všechno padne. Díky moc, že jste tady byli, mějte se krásně a budu se těšit samozřejmě zítra v 8 hodin na živý stream v 8 hodin, zítra je čtvrtek, jo. No a páteční díl samozřejmě, jo. Ale zítra si natočte hodinky, dejte si tam alarm a v 8 hodin začínáme živý livestream. První živý pravidelný livestream každý čtvrtek v 8 hodin. Mějte se, ahoj.